something. Can you guys hear me now? The only thing I'm having problems with is my phone. I'm using my phone as the other camera, and I hear myself talking at it. So I don't know if you guys can hear that feedback. So let me know in the comments first where you're from. And you can now. Thank you, Heather. I really appreciate that because I don't know. So I was just talking for about 5 minutes just having a good old conversation with myself. So again, I'm Toni from the Fibrology Lab. This is the coffee chat. Today, I am going to do a little demo, and I'm going to show you some things I'm working on and just kind of get to know you a little bit more intimately. And this is why it's only in YouTube. I decided not to do the Facebook YouTube thing, mainly because I want to be able to focus on one set of people who are here hanging out with me. And I'm not going to be here all morning, guys. I'll just be here for about a couple minutes, maybe 20. I don't know. Depends on how much we talk, because we're here to talk. So if you don't mind saying hi, where you're from, and then give a shout out so I can give you a shout out. What is your favorite morning beverage? Normally, I know a lot of people don't like coffee. They like tea or a cold Pepsi in the morning. I don't think I could do something cold and fizzy that early. So I'm having coffee instead. As I'm setting this up, trying to learn what works best, I'm gonna need more coffee. Maybe that's not a good idea, but I might need more coffee because yeah, I'm a little frustrated, but we'll get there. This is a learning practice. You get to ride along with me as I'm going through this process, and I'm grateful that you have decided to hang out for a few minutes. So hey, Heather, Georgina's there. Hey, Georgina, got to have Heather, I hear you. Got to have a coffee. We have been Mr. Fibrology and I have for the last 3 weeks been getting up in the morning and going to Planet Fitness. So I haven't had coffee in the morning until I get home about 7:30. But I saved my coffee today so I could have it right here with you guys. It's hot. I'm in an insulated cup, so it's good. Coffee. Look at it. You guys are all about coffee. Yeah. Do you guys use creamer or sugar or both or none? So then we're gonna get into the nitty gritties. I have I have a creamer in mine, but there's so much sugar in creamers nowadays. I don't put sugar in my coffee anymore. I just use creamer straight up. And if I have half and half, I'll put a little bit of sugar. Not a lot, just a little bit. So, all right. Good morning, everybody. I am Toni again from the Fibrology Lab. And today I'm just going to have a conversation. I want to kind of make this a daily routine so I can keep in touch with you, maybe get to know you a little better, and show you some demos. Because, I mean, you guys are always asking for how to do certain things. I have a mile-long list of demos that I'm going to try to do. One of them is binding. One of them is how to do miter corners. One of them is how to do cornerstone corner borders, how to square up a quilt, all sorts of fun things. But today I'm going to show a demo using the strip tube ruler. So this is a ruler that is designed by Cozy Quilts. It's by Danielle Stout. She is our guest this weekend at Stitched Up Stories. That's that link you see going across the bottom. Go to that link, sign up, make sure you put us as your sponsoring shop, Fibrology Lab. But I'm going to show you how I use it. And I've used it for all the patterns I've done with her. So she's got like over 150 patterns to use that ruler. The goal is to use strips, hence the name Strip Tube Ruler. And it's a lot of fun to use. I've been using it for, well, like I said yesterday, I mark all my rulers with a mailing label. So when I go to classes or when I'm teaching, I don't lose my tools. This one is from my Maryland address, so that is over 12 years ago. So I have been using it for a long time. I should have brought my quilt trade winds. It's one of my favorite quilts. It's the first one I ever did of Cozy Quilts to design, and I'll bring that in tomorrow for tomorrow's coffee chat. But I want to show and tell. I don't get to show and tell very often, and it's not that I'm bragging. I got to share with you. You're my community, and I want to share with you some things that I have accomplished over the last couple weeks, couple days. This is a really cute runner topper that I did for our VIP club. This is one of their mini projects. If you join the VIP club, I always give a mini project every month with videos and PDFs for you to do something out of your stash, or you can be part of the Platinum Club, which includes a kit every month. And this is what they're getting. This, I think it actually was for September, but I finally quilted it and put binding on it. Excuse me. Yes, coffee tends to do other things. to my system. So, hey there, Phil. Good morning to you. So, Phil, I think we've had this conversation before. Coffee or no coffee? I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I want you to confirm that answer before I embarrass myself and say something wrong, different. So the other thing I have been playing around with, which will work great for the demo that I'm about to show, is I am doing Tula's book on 100 modern quilt blocks. I am on block number 47. I'm actually going to be doing 48 in the demo here because it's easier for you to see. But I love this. It's so simple to do. I spend Sunday going through all my Tula and Allison Glass. I use Allison Glass fabrics in this and putting baby kits together. And I stick it in the pages. That's why it looks fat. I stick it in the pages so I know, and I do one a day. So it takes less than 20 minutes, probably actually less than 10 or 15 because everything's cut, ready to go. I just sit down for a few minutes right after I work out and I do a block. And they're 6.5 inches, so they're tiny. So these are some of them. I have, like I said, 42 of them done. So these are just a few of the ones I have finished over the last week. Oops. And I thought this would be perfect to talk about half square triangles because that's what I'm going to demo in a minute. And then, of course, there's some flying geese, some more flying geese, and more flying geese. I have a love-hate relationship with flying geese, but I can show you how various ways to make those more accurate so you're not losing your points in that technique as well. So, oh, look, everybody's here. Hey there, Linda. Good morning to you. Hey there, Sandra. Good morning. Missed the beginning of your live. That's no problem because, Sandra, I didn't have the right microphone on. So I'm hoping you guys don't hear a feedback because I'm using my cell phone to show my workstation here in a minute. And I hear myself talking over there. So it's kind of weird. But I'm hoping you don't hear that on your end. So only specialty coffee once in a while, not in the mornings. Okay, Phil. That's what I thought. I think we've had that discussion before. But that's okay. I guess mine's a specialty coffee because I put creamer in it. That makes it special. It's not just coffee anymore. So who else we got here? Have I missed anything? I don't think so. I haven't seen everybody. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my camera over, my other camera over, and I'm going to show you how I am going to use the strip tube ruler. Now, again, this ruler comes with great instructions. It comes with a quilt pattern actually in the instructions when you get it. And there's two sizes. So this is the smaller size. This is the junior. And then this is just the regular strip tube ruler. Now, the junior will help you make half square triangles up to 6.5 inches. And this one will do up to 9.5 inches. Boy, they look really, I have loved these rulers. I've done them so many times. I have multiples of them. I thought that was funny, so I brought both of them, and I have another set. You just can never have enough. If you like something, you might as well get a couple because, one day you'll go looking for it and you can't find it. So, Sandra says sweetener and no sugar Irish cream, half and half. Yay, that sounds good. I haven't done Irish cream in mine in a long time. I have done Bailey's in mine, but not this morning. Not this morning. I'm just having straight coffee with a creamer this morning. All right, so let me see how I'm going to do this. I'm going to move my camera in, over here, and I'm going to add it to the stream. I'm going to do this number. Okay, let me straighten my camera up a little bit. There you go. Can you guys all see my wonderful workstation? So let's talk about how to make half square triangles. I mean, I'm sure everybody has their method and their way to do it, which is great. And there's nothing wrong with that. But always try something new because it might make more sense to you. And there's so many ways to do half square triangles. There's so many ways to do flying geese. I do use different methods, but when it's this small, I try to stick with this little ruler because it's just simple for me to use. So what you're seeing here is a square. This is supposed to be finished at 3.5 inches, or technically unfinished. The size of the square should be 3.5 inches when I'm done sewing and cutting it apart. So what I have done is I've cut these squares at 4 inches. I can make it a 1/2 inch bigger and then I'm sewing it and trimming it down. I'd rather have enough extra to trim down because you can't trim up. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's what we're doing. On the diagonal, I have marked a pencil line and I sewed a 1/4 inch on both sides. I normally use a seam guide ruler, which I don't have here because I'm in my office and not at home. But it's a ruler that is just a 1/2 inch wide, and I draw the lines on both sides. So this time I actually had to draw a center line, and I sewed on both sides of the line. When I do this, I don't make it exactly a 1/4 inch. I always like to say I come over a couple threads towards the center. That gives me a little bit of smaller seam allowance, but it gives me more fudge space to trim down. And sometimes that's important depending on your cutting and your sewing confidence. So I always sew a little bit closer to the line. So it might not be exactly a 1/4 inch seam because it's not going to matter when I trim it down. Now you're seeing this funky little ratty little piece of fabric up there. That is my leader ender. Anytime I'm doing or I'm starting on a point in a square, I always put this under the needle first. What this allows your machine to do is go ahead and form that stitch. So you guys can see the stitch is formed right there. It's twisted up. So what that allows it to do is once you stick this piece of fabric under the needle, it's not going to get chomped down into your stitch plate. Now I say that with a grain of salt because sometimes it still happens. But most of the time, if you start with a lead or ender, you're not going to have that problem. The other thing to kind of help you with prepping your processes for triangles or half square triangles is if you have a single hole stitch plate, I encourage you to use that. I encourage you to use that for all your piecing, to be honest with you, because it makes sure that needle stays straight and it's not going to go off, and you'll have a more accurate 1/4 inch seam as well. Sandra says she can't wait for Daniela. Oh, good. She 100% loves her. She's amazing. Thank you for sharing this with us. No problem, Sandra. I'm glad I can do this because what's the point of getting a tool if you're not sure how to use it? And like I said, this is just one way. There's other ways to use this tool. This is one of my favorite ways. I do believe in purchasing tools that you're going to have multiple purposes for. So there are some really unique one kind of rulers out there, and they're great, but they only work for one thing. So this is one of those tools that can be worked for several different things. So now I've got my stitch line both sides. I've got my leader ender. I'm going to trim that off real quick. And then I'm going to cut this apart. I'm just going to use this little ruler, match it up. I am left-handed, so just keep that in mind if you're watching and you're like, that doesn't look right. You are correct because I am left-handed. I'm not right. I am left. So I just separated it out. We're going to not open them up yet, but we're going to use the stitch line as a focal point, as a reference point. And I wish I could zoom in my camera, but I can't, unfortunately. So I'm hoping you guys can see that. On this ruler, since I said I need 3.5 inch measurement when I'm done with this, I'm going to put this line at the 3.5 on top of that stitch line. You do not put it on the bottom edge because remember I said my seam is not a 1/4 inch allowance. So I'm just going to put it on top of that stitch line, and you can see where it's just a hair past it. I'm just going to go up and down. You notice I did not move my hand until I got all that extra stuff out of the way. If you left your hand up and then assume that you cut through it, you might miss spots. So I always keep my hand on the ruler until I am finished pulling it away. Now we're going to have dog ears because this is really small and that's why I'm using it. I'm just going to go ahead and trim them towards the center and get them out of my way so I don't have to worry about them. So that is all squared up. So if I had done this traditionally with a regular ruler, I would have to cut around 4 sides to make sure this was squared up. Using the strip tube ruler, I only had to cut 2 sides. Makes it a lot easier, especially when you're doing bigger half square triangles. These ones are a little small, so it doesn't make that much difference. Now with my half square triangles, I do like to press open. Again, I'm not a quilt police. It's totally up to you. I press open. My seam, my stitch length, I do keep a little smaller. My stitch length normally sits about 2.2 on my machine, so I know I'm not too worried about things coming through those holes. But what it allows me to do is when I press it open, it allows the bulk of this point to be evenly dispersed over the seams. So that is my 3.5. Let me see if it's 3.5. It is. Look at that. I'm pretty excited about that. 3.5 inch square triangle. And I'm going to do another one so I can finish making my block for today for my 100 modern quilt blocks. So I love this tool, and I highly encourage you to get both sides because this one's really good for the smaller. You can even do like a 1 inch half square triangle. I don't know if I would ever go that small. If you are brave and you go that small, I'm impressed. And then this one I like a lot. I use this one mainly for my 6.5 and 8.5 inch half square triangles because I do make them. So, all right, I am going to switch back over to the main camera. Remove. There we go. I'm gonna rotate that out. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about my little nifty tool tricks of the trade there for the half square triangles? How do you guys, what tools do you use? I'm sure there are so many out there. I actually own quite a few. I own the Tucker trimmer. I have another one. What's that one called? It has little slits in it, but I still always go back to this one. Maybe because I started with it and I feel comfortable with it. And that's the other thing. As you start going through processes and using tools, you tend to go back to the one you really learned on because you feel comfortable with it. So, does anybody have any questions? I don't want to take all your morning up. I just wanted to show you a little demo and show you some show and tell. And then tomorrow I might have a different setup because I'm still not happy with that. It's bothering me that I can hear myself talk from my phone, and I want to be able to show more demos. I want to be sitting at my sewing machine and show you some of the things that I do at my sewing machine. But all right. Well, I don't see anybody asking questions, so that's a good thing, maybe, hopefully. I will be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. again to do another coffee chat. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Actually, I am sure what I'm going to do, but I'll tell you about that tomorrow. And don't forget, today at 2 p.m. in the app only, I will be doing a very limited sale. It's almost like a 3-2-1. I've got some things to show. I've got some stuff I'm going to sell out of my personal stash, and all the donation. I'm going to donate 10% of it again towards our Florida disaster relief. And if you don't know what our app is, you can see the link. I'll put the link in the description below when I get off here, because the app is where it's at. We have so much fun because of the app. So, and we've got some new stuff coming. I've got fabric coming today. I'm so excited. There'll be a box opening later. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow morning. I think that's what we'll do. We'll do a box opening live tomorrow on our coffee chat. I think that's what I want to say. All right, you guys, you have a great day. Again, thank you so much for joining me live. And any questions, you can always email me at info@fiberologylab.com. And we'll see you soon. Remember, we are friends, fibers, and fun.